Did you know that you can actually get all the way from Bangkok, Thailand to Singapore via Kuala Lumpur? And in this video, I put together the 3 legs of the journey that I took that started in Bangkok and finished in Singapore, including a very enjoyable day in KL. So I'm outside Bangkok's Krung Thep Apiwat Central Station, and the reason that I'm here today is because I'm going to get on a first-class sleeper carriage all the way from Bangkok down to Hat Yai in the south of Thailand. It's a place where I used to work, so I know it quite well. But the reason that I'm going down there is it's a great step-off point to go into Malaysia and then go all the way by train to Kuala Lumpur. But the first part of the journey is down to Hat Yai, and that's going to take an amazing 14 hours. Yes, 14 hours. I know you could go there on an aeroplane for about an hour and a half, but it's not really about the speed when you go by train in Thailand. It's about the experience. So if you want to go down south to Hat Yai, there's 4 trains a day leaving in the afternoon. The first one is at 3:10. The second one is an hour later at 4:10. Then there's a 4:50 and also a 5:30. The 4:50 actually is a popular departure because that is a CNR rolling stock train. That's the new trains that they bought from China a few years back. And that one's very popular because obviously it's that much more modern. So the ticket prices vary from 258 baht all the way on a 14-hour train down to Hat Yai, but that's for a seat in a third-class fan-cooled coach, all the way up to 1,790 baht in a lower sleeping berth in an air-conditioned CNR train. Actually, you can book a first-class room to yourself for 2,590 baht on a CNR train, or 2,090 baht on one of the older trains, and that's what I did today. In my train, you could go by second-class sleeper for around 900 baht. You could get a seat in a fan-cooled second-class carriage for 533 baht, or you could get a seat in the fan-cooled third class. That's just 338 baht. So you'll want to know how to book the tickets for the train, and you can book in various ways. First of all, of course, you could go to the ticket office behind me at Krung Thep Apiwat Station. Actually, you can book a ticket at any Thai railway station in the country and they'll book you on for this route. Second thing that you could do is you could go on the website, and I'll put the website address on the screen and also in the description below. The third thing, which is what I did, is I use the D-Ticket app on my phone, and you can book online and pay from a Thai bank account or pay by a debit or credit card on there, and they send you a QR code, and that's what you use to board the train. Or finally, you could use one of the different agents that book trains. They're a bit easier to navigate on their sites. It's all in English, but they do charge a little bit of a premium if you use their services. It's up to you. You can book your ticket actually 180 days in advance. So I'm standing here at the end of August, and I could book today for a train that goes in the middle of next February. So book in advance and you've got the best chance of getting the seat type or the bed type that you actually want. I'm travelling on train number 37 today, and that leaves at 16:10 or 4:10 from Zone E. Boarding gate will open 20 minutes before departure time. So you go through the ticket check and then up on some escalators to get onto the train.
Class
12, okay. Car number 12. So this is my room then, and normally you would share one of these rooms. There's 2 seats and then there's an upper berth and a lower berth. But then again, I have splashed out. Oh. And for the princely sum of just over 2,000 baht, hopefully I'm going to be all alone, and this rather bijou room is going to be my home for the next 14 hours or so. You've got a small wash basin, you've got a power point, you've got a door, you've got a window of course, and you've got curtains to keep the light out and a little table. So I think it's fair to say they don't really encourage you to have a big night out whilst you're on the train. They come round about 7 o'clock to make up your beds. It's all nice and clean. They give you a nice blanket because it might get cold. They give you a nice towel so you can have a wash. It's all very pleasant. And well, it's about 20 past 7 now, and there's probably not much else to do than maybe watch some YouTube, watch some Netflix, catch up with a Facebook, maybe chat to a few people, and then get an early night. Hopefully by the morning time I'll be in Hat Yai. So I've just done a quick check on the script. This is the part of the video where I say welcome to Hat Yai. We've arrived already and I've had a beautiful and wonderful night's sleep. The only problem is we're not quite in Hat Yai yet because the train's over half an hour late, and I didn't sleep a wink. If you're a light sleeper, and I am a light sleeper, with all of the noise and all of the rocking and rolling of the train, it's not actually that easy to get a good night's sleep. So probably I did get about an hour, but if it was an hour, that's as much as it was. So I'm feeling pretty tired now. But on the bright side, someone has just bought me a steaming hot cup of coffee for 40 baht. That's going to make things feel a lot better. So although we are running over 30 minutes late, one of the benefits is that I'm arriving more in daylight. We were due to arrive at about 6:30 and that would have been just about dark, but now I've got 30 minutes where I can enjoy the wonderful countryside approaching Hat Yai station. And the other thing about this train, which you might be able to hear me, is that this is actually two train numbers, 37 that I caught and also 45, which then goes on to the Malaysian border at the station Padang Besar. And that's why lots of people are boarding here to go a bit further south. After a short break in Hat Yai itself, that's what I'm doing. I'm coming back and heading for Malaysia and eventually Kuala Lumpur.
Attention please, the special express train number 947 from Hat Yai Junction to Padang Besar.
So you may have seen me a few days ago arriving at Hat Yai station, and the reason I came here was because I'm going to go from here on another train to Padang Besar, and from there I'm going to get a fast train and go all the way to Kuala Lumpur. There's just 3 trains a day that do this crossing into Malaysia. The first one is the train that comes all the way from Bangkok. That one can be delayed a little bit. And there's also 2 other services that are shuttle services. So they originate in Hat Yai and just do a shuttle across to Padang Besar. It doesn't matter which service you get, you're still going to get on a 3rd-class fan-cooled carriage. And the ticket price is a rather cheap 50 baht to go into Malaysia from here, just 50 baht. You can't book that ticket in advance, but they go on sale 1 hour before the train departs. And I'm here for the 8:55 train and I got my ticket already. It's only a short journey, I think it's about 40 minutes, something like that, maybe 50 minutes. And then when you get there, you're going to go through immigration, leave Thailand, and then through immigration into Malaysia. Don't get off at Padang Besar on the Thai side. There's one more stop. It's very, very close together, and that is on the Malaysian side. That's where to get off. I wasn't allowed to film going through immigration, but I can definitely say that's one of the quickest trips through an immigration I've ever had. It only took about 5 to 10 minutes to get through both the Thai side and on the other side through the Malaysian side. There is an online form for Malaysian immigration which you should fill in. That seems to speed it up a little bit, and I'll put the link to that in the description below. Some of the connections are not really ideal. The first train, train number 45, if it's delayed by too much and there is a long queue at immigration because that's a popular train, it may be that you miss the next train to KL, which is the 9:45. On the other hand, if you get a later train, one of the shuttle trains like I did today, then the problem that you find is you could be 3 or 4 hours staying at Padang Besar station. My tip is to actually book your ticket online using the app that's on screen now. So the way I booked my ticket was using the KTMB mobile app, and you'll be travelling from Padang Besar to KL Sentral, Central with an S. Choose your date and then search to see what trains are available. You will see the cost is from 100 Malaysian ringgit for one seat one way. Select your departure time and it then shows you the seat plan. If you select in coach A, that is the first class. If you go to coach B with 4 seats across, that is the next class down. Once you have made your selection, fill in the details of the person travelling, and you can make payment by an international credit card or debit card. After payment, you will see a QR code, and that's what gains you entry through the electronic gates. They are accessibility friendly, and there's a lift that takes you down to the platform. Much more modern looking train than the one that I got on from Hat Yai. Coach A has the best seats in the house because that's 3 seats across. As I say, it includes some sort of meal, but you will pay this extra price. So my ticket is on coach B. They let you down to the platform about 45 minutes before departure, but at the moment I'm waiting for them to open the doors to load up. So once you get on board, it's more or less like any modern train. It's fully air conditioned, they've got comfortable reclining seats, luggage racks are just about sufficient. There's a tray table for you to use, there's power points, although they do use 3-pin plugs in Malaysia, a bit more like the UK plugs. Nice big windows so that you can see the views going by. Just one other quick tip is that half the seats in standard class go backwards. So if you don't like that, make sure you get a forward facing seat. And the journey times for most of these trains is just under 5.5 hours. The fastest train of the day is the one that I caught. The train's actually quite quiet, although at the moment it sounds noisy because I'm out between 2 coaches because I don't want to disturb the other passengers. There is a small restaurant area or cafeteria where they sell microwave food and hot tea, hot coffee, sandwiches, things like that. Nothing too spectacular, but keeps you going on a journey of this length. For most of the journey it goes at a steady 140 kilometers per hour. The toilets on board, they're like kind of aircraft style. All the way through you can watch the journey on a TV screen, and in less than 30 minutes we should be arriving in KL Sentral, the main station for Kuala Lumpur. arrived then, and that was just over 5 hours actually. The train was a little bit late, delays due to signalling in the Kuala Lumpur area, story of my life. But I have arrived and that was a good journey. Again, I'm not going to tell you that it's better than flying because it's a lot longer, but it is very comfortable. You can walk around, you can stretch your legs, and you can see a lot of the views on the way down here as well. This is an interesting city. I'm going to take a quick look around that tomorrow, and it may even be in the future a place where I take a trip down to Singapore. So I just arrived in KL, but I've only got about 24 hours.
Oh my God!
Here I am on a minivan. So the first stop they bring you to on this tour is Batu Caves. And he told me lots of things, but the thing that stuck in my mind is it's 272 steps up to see the cave. So we've got an hour's stop here. I might be able to get to the top just about within that hour if I start now. And I'm back here at KL Central Railway Station, and I'm going to get two trains that are going to take me to the border of Singapore, and then I'm going to find a way to actually cross the border, either by a train or by a bus. Let's find out. So there's actually two trains a day that can take you from KL Central down to Gemas, with the chance of then swapping trains there and going to JB Sentral. One of them leaves at 9:30 p.m. approximately and will get you to Gemas by midnight, but then you've got a 2-hour wait to start your journey at 2 a.m. from there. So I prefer the one that actually leaves at 12:15. That should get me there in the afternoon in time for a 30-minute layover and swap trains, and then I'll be arriving at JB Sentral. The great thing about taking the train is not only do you get to see a lot more of the journey, but also it's not expensive. So the first leg of this journey is just 30 ringgit. The second train is 21 ringgit, so 30 plus 21. 51 ringgit for the complete journey to the border with Singapore. And by my calculation, 51 ringgit is about like $12 US. So all of these journeys that I booked in Malaysia, I booked on the app. You just put in your origin and destination, the number of people and the date you want to travel, and they will show you the trains available and then the seats available on that train. Select the seat or seats that you want, and then you can pay with a Visa card, and then you'll get a QR code, which is what you need to get on the train. KL Central is a big modern station with all of the facilities you'd expect. There's a small shopping centre downstairs with a choice of shops, including a 7-Eleven. So about 15 minutes before the due departure time, they shout out the name of the train, the number.
Mayday station at 12:15 p.m. Please scan your ticket.
And I learned something as well, because he says this train goes to Gemas. So G must be a gut sound in this word. I've been saying Gemas. Apologies to all Malaysian people for butchering their language, but I do it with the Thai language as well, so it's nothing personal.
Tolong minta kerjasama, buat satu line, one line please. Okay, thank you. Just follow. Thank you very much for your cooperation.
So the train is just pulling into Gemas, as I now pronounce it. And I think we started a few minutes late, but we seem to have made up that time. Time is now 2:38, and then at 3:20 I'm due to get on the next train, which is to JB Sentral. So short stop here, change trains and onward to JB Sentral. So it's a very nice way to travel, and luckily the weather held off because there's been some big storms around the area, but at the moment it's warm and sunny. Of course, the next job is to find out how to get to JB Sentral. There is a train waiting on the adjacent platform. Now in a perfect world that would be it, but I don't suppose this world is perfect. For train to JB Sentral.
This one.
It's that one there, is it? Thank you so much. I can tell you one thing about this second train, and that is it's freezing cold. Here's my seat. Broken window. Far more basic, but I'm sure it will do the job just fine. YouTuber, yeah. Nice to meet you. There was a cafe on board. Very cute, very friendly staff. Good selection of snacks actually, but I was full after having a meal on the last train. Yeah, well, okay, I couldn't resist the banana cake, which was quite delicious. There was clean Western style toilets on board. You could notice changing views as you got towards Johor Bahru. So at this point I wasn't quite decided how I was going to actually cross the border into Singapore, because when I booked the first two legs of this journey and then tried to book the third leg into Woodlands CIQ, then there weren't any seats available. But I got chatting to an English guy who was sitting in front of me on the train. He said he'd managed to book last minute because there were cancellations. I tried on the train and there were 3 seats left, so I booked one of those, and I'm going to be on the 8:15 departure from JB Sentral to Woodlands CIQ. The only slight concern is the train was running about 10 or 15 minutes late, and given that you've only got 30 minutes at JB Sentral to find the correct platform for the next train and also go through Malaysian immigration, time was looking a bit tight. So I finally arrived in Singapore, and the last leg of the journey, it was really quite straightforward, at least for 99.9% of the passengers. You get off at JB Sentral, it's well signposted down to get to Woodlands CIQ. And when you get down there, you can't film, but you go through immigration to leave Malaysia. I say for 99.9% of the passengers, you just scan your passport, have your bag checked, and then down the escalator onto the train. But for one of the passengers, they got stopped by immigration because their passport wouldn't scan. 10-minute interview to persuade immigration to let me through. No idea what the problem was. Fortunately, they held the train for me. The guys checking the bags had actually gone home, and they put the red tape across to say no more people boarding this train, the next one's at 9:30, but they still let me on, so that was a stroke of luck. As was another stroke of luck when 5 minutes later I'm across the bridge and I'm in Singapore, because there are stories that you can wait there in a line for about 30 minutes to get through Singaporean immigration, but for me it was literally just walk straight through and then a choice of taxi or bus or grab taxi to get to downtown Singapore. I've enjoyed a lot of success using Grab Taxi because I've used it in Hat Yai in Thailand, I've used it in KL in Malaysia, and I also used it when I arrived in Singapore. All the time it's been attached to my Thai bank account, so I haven't had to worry about whether I've got any local currency to use when getting a taxi to my hotel. So that's worked really well. But I'll be back to Bangkok at the weekend, so another video coming very soon. If you've enjoyed this one, don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notifications. But for me, here in Singapore, bye for now. See you next time. Bye bye.